Shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Habakkuk double honors to the elder apostles, great millstone, rule and teach well, and honors and salutations to the men of the Lord, doing the same and teaching the same. All right. Um, Pretty much the title of this lesson will be the Insurrection Act of 1807. It will be implemented, okay? It will be implemented in in one of Donald Trump's interviews, all right, he mentioned all, the different reasons, why he would enact, all right, or implement the Insurrection Act, okay? And all of those different reasons or excuses are literally happening right now, okay? He's Donald Trump is having a, basically fight against Congress, all right, and these different mayors, Democrats, okay, of these different states, all right, because they don't want the National Guard, all right, and they don't want ICE in their state or whatever like that, you know. So all the different reasons or excuses Trump said, you know, if he can't, basically, if he can't have his way, he's going to implement the Insurrection Act. And guess what? These different, and they're focused on the Democratic states, and they're saying, well, if you don't allow us to send in ICE or the National Guard, then he's going to do this. He's going to implement the Insurrection Act of 1807. All right, and so basically, all the reasons or excuses he named, you know, for wanting to implement the Insurrection Act, all of it is literally happening before your eyes. So basically, right in front of your face, Donald Trump told you he's going to implement, basically martial law. All right. He's going to implement martial law. Jacob's trouble is here. It's just going to spread like wildfire. It's going to escalate, and it's going to get extremely, extremely dangerous. And it's going to get extremely, extremely deadly. Okay. All right. So, great, great tribulation is coming. Okay. All right. So we're going to read some of this article and get some precepts, and Lord willing, is edifying. Okay. All right. This is by USA Today. President Trump says he would invoke the Insurrection Act if it was necessary. All right. It says, I'm going to read this part right here. It says Trump said he would consider invoking the Insurrection Act to deploy the military into cities if courts block his deployment of National Guard troops. And that's exactly what's happening. President Donald Trump said he would consider invoking the Insurrection Act to send the military into cities if courts block his deployment of National Guard troops. I'd do it if it was necessary so far. That's a quote by Trump. It hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office on October 6th. Okay. And he also named, different excuses or reasons to why he would do that. And it's literally happening, you know. So he told you, he told you without telling you, specifically that he's going to implement the Insurrection Act. Okay. The Insurrection Act, invoked it only 30 times in American history, gives the president the power to deploy U.S. armed forces to suppress rebellions and civil unrest when federal laws are being obstructed. Okay. And the thing is, they create the chaos and then bring the order. All right. They create the chaos and bring the order. All right. This is how these elites work. All right. You know, And it's been proven time and time again, that they use false flag events. All right. Okay. Not to say every single, event is a false flag, but most of them is used to, as an agenda to pass forth legislation to manipulate the minds of the masses. All right. And to bring about their agenda. Okay. Um, all right. So yeah, this is what I had watched a video on. I'm gonna read this last passage and that'll be it. I'm gonna stop right here. If people were being killed, that's happening, and courts were holding us up, that's happening, or governors, all right, or mayors were holding us up, that's happening. Sure, I do that. Trump said of the Insurrection Act, I want to make sure people aren't killed. We have to make sure our cities are safe. All right. And this is bigger than that. You got to look at the bigger picture. All right. Esau been purposely letting chaos ramp, run over, run overboard, overflow, like overfilling a cup with water. It's going to overflow. You know, so um, Esau, he's been letting it all the chaos in Babylon, the Great America. They've been purposely letting you know drugs run rampant. Okay, um, they've been purposely letting terrorists, all right, into the open borders. All right, this is all so they can have an excuse. All right, to come down with great wrath. All right, and to basically do away with this current system. All right, and to implement a new system. All right, implementing, everything's going to be digital. All right, all right, and everything is going to be by way of the CDDCs. All right, and you're going to have to take. Days are coming to where it's steady marching towards that time. All right, where the mark of the beast, the RFID chip, and that Neuralink is going to be implemented. Okay, and those are going to be your requirements in order to be in society. Okay, if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to be in this society. Okay, so that's what it's boiling down to, and it's all about power and control. Okay, you know, and they why you think they're doing away with free speech? All right, and they're 1,000%, you know, disregarding the Constitution. All right, and they just fucking over you, mainly you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, also according to Deuteronomy 30 and 7, these curses is also falling on the heathen. All right, and the Edomites, so they're feeling it. All right, because these upper echelon elites, all right, one percenters, they don't care about uh, the common uh, citizens. All right, and they care about total control and power, and their new world order is going to give them that. Okay, so the people you see on the TV are nothing but they're pawns. All right, they're taking orders. All right, the people you don't see, they're the ones that's pulling the strings. All right,